Welcome to the Marriage Boss Podcast, episode 16. I'm super excited today because I've got a special guest who is not only a friend of mine and a soul sister, but somebody who is very special, near and dear to my heart. Star Monroe is a woman. She's a writer, an eating psychology coach, a soul medicine creator, a psychotherapy trainee, and a teacher of the divine feminine. A wild woman herself, Star is committed to finding out who she is, while at the same time helping women around the world find out who they are. A single parent of an amazing young man, George, soon to be 16, Star parents with heart, grace, and an inner wisdom that will make any of us proud. Star, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Rick. And that's a beautiful introduction. I appreciate that.
Well, you know, for any of us who know you and love you, it's an understatement. Believe me, all of what I said is an understatement. So I'm sure you are going to enlighten us today. And I'm so happy to have you. So thank you.
Thank you.
So let's just jump right in. The other day, and we've been friends for a while now, and I've been reading your stuff, and I saw this post that you put up, Musings on Being a Single Parent. And I was deeply touched by it. And I let you know that right away. And I immediately saved it. I started thinking about all kinds of stuff because quite often when we have an online persona that is celebrity and whatever it is, if it's empowerment or if we're coaches or authors or artists, any kind of creative person, we're rarely seen as our true self. And so that day, I started to see you as someone's mother and as a parent. So I wanted to jump on and ask you, what prompted that post?
It was in me for a while, so I knew that it was going to come. And I recently have just gone through like a really tough patch in my life. And it was probably about a month ago, kind of what I said around the time. I said life just threw up all over me. So I kind of, I pulled myself away and sort of figured out, well, I let myself process through it. So I went through it, and I'm still kind of going through it right now. So I'm going through a really kind of tough period in my life and learning how to maneuver myself through this period without resorting into too much self-sabotage and being kind to myself. And one of my ways that I process and move things through me is by writing. And I want you to, because I kind of, I'm very honest and raw on Facebook, and I haven't been showing up as much. So I kind of was battling with myself, like I need to do this and I should be writing. But also when the shoulds and the needs come, I'm just like, no, don't do it. And then I suppose more than anything is that I've just been giving myself space. And not kind of space as in anything too wondrous. I've just kind of, I cleared the decks and I just spent some time with my dogs and watched a lot of crappy TV and just took all the pressure off. And then at the weekend, I really did hit rock bottom at the weekend, and it was a really tough weekend. And I tend to kind of spend a lot of time on my own when I go through this, and that's part of my process. But I knew that I had something to write about being a single parent. And I think that it also had something to do with I was excavating some trauma that happened to me when I was a child. So lots of little things triggered this. And then I just had the space, because when I write, I need the space to to write, and I just wrote on Monday, and I always write kind of from my heart and from my soul, and that's what happened. That's the post that came out of me.
And I think that from the response, which was huge, tons of comments, tons of engagement. I love watching this type of action and interaction, because I think what it does is it gives other people permission to feel the same things and to take a breath, let walls come down, open up more, appreciate, have gratitude, not only for your journey and the ability to share it with us, but also to experience our own journey more freely, more courageously, more vulnerably. And I think being someone in the public eye and being adored and being followed, you set a beautiful example by giving us that gift. I know for me personally, my life will never be the same after reading that post. I thought that the most beautiful thing about it was it's every parent's journey. We all have the same ups and downs. So, I thank you again for that. I am going to put that post and the link to it in the show notes so that everybody can see it. I just thought it was so powerful, and it's part of what got us on this show today. So, I really wanted, and I was hoping you would say yes to talking about it. So, thank you again for that. So, we spoke about your desire to move back to more inner wisdom. What made you go there?
For about around, oh my goodness me, is it coming? The 1st July, 7 years ago, so I'm coming up for my 7th year anniversary, I stopped using cocaine. I was a cocaine addict. And I started kind of more like my deeper self-development, personal, who am I journey. And I suppose that's what I'm on. I'm on a journey to find out who I am and to figure out why I do things. I'm intrigued in my patterns, my behaviours, where have they all come from. And I've been searching or trying to figure things out for 7 years. And it was interesting because I'm doing a little bit of work on a new offering I'm putting together to bring out into the world when it's ready. And I went upstairs and I've got notes and bits of paper all over my house and books and journals. And I've been doing this for years and years and years and years. And one of the main threads that runs through it is learn to trust yourself. Learn to trust yourself. Mm-hmm. And it keeps coming back, and I forget it, sometimes, and I forget it, and I forget to trust myself, and I feel that is my journey, and I've always done what I wanted to do. I've never listened to anybody else, and if someone was to tell me to do something, I'd invariably go off and do something else. So I think as I've got older and moved more deeply into my 40s, I've lost that rebellious streak so much. I don't feel like I've got that, fuck you kind of attitude anymore. But that kind of this pull to trust yourself, because I kind of encourage other women to do that and listen to your own internal voice. And I suppose I'm at another layer, because that's what all I know is whatever I go through, I always just deepen into another layer, so always learn something else. And so I thought probably about 4 years ago I kind of nailed it and I knew everything that I needed to know. But I was like, no way, life threw another breakdown at me. And so now I know that I don't know anything. And so all I know is I just fall into another layer. So where I am right now, and I was thinking about this morning, is that I can't. What's calling me is this space. So I this space and this kind of opening into me, like a deeper layer of me. And even as I'm saying it, I'm getting anxious, like the anxiety is rising in
Yeah.
me.
Yep.
So, and I just feel that I'm just learning to be as kind as I can around this time, because eventually I will fall that little bit deeper into it. So it's kind of yeah, that kind of trusting. I'm just kind of, as I'm talking, I'm just kind of, have I gone off track of your question, or am I still on
No, you
track?
actually hit it right on the head, because that coming back was the inner wisdom I was asking you about.
Okay.
You were
Yeah.
trusting yourself more
Yeah.
as opposed to other people. And I'm
Yeah.
as a creative rebel, I get that.
Yeah.
And whether it be another coach or an advisor or a guide or any kind of authority figure, folks like us want to do our own thing. And
Yeah.
that's the beautiful part about it, and that's sometimes a big mess too
Yeah.
if it doesn't work. But I totally get it, and I know our audience will. And what it leads me to uh, come back around to is the question of, you mentioned briefly, you kind of teased it, but I want you to tell me about your plans to guide women back to being who they really are versus the glitz and the show of what I love to call the highlight reel. And so when you and I spoke about doing this and talking and doing some things together, you said something so beautiful to me. You said, a gentle yes to all. And I
Yeah.
saw a post you wrote today about, why some people on the internet are being so hard and difficult and edgy, when you were much more attracted to a gentler, softer approach. So I want you to kind of unite those two things and tell us why it's so important, not only for you to get back to who you are instead of the glamorous, show business person we see online, and how you can help other women do the same thing.
Um, I think that it's really easy for me to slip back into old patterning, and the post that I wrote, which prompted us to be on this call together, I wrote a lot about I had to be in my masculine. And I think that's when you asked me right at the beginning of this conversation, you said, why did you write that? And I just had, and that's giving myself the space. I just kind of had these little things fall into place. And it was just like, I love nurturing. I love looking after people. And it just made me so sad that I haven't had the opportunity to look after George and be that nurturing parent, because I've had to earn the money and run the businesses so I can have the house and look after them and pay the bills. But and that's like an identity, a role that is hardwired in me. And also how I was brought up. I was brought up by, you work hard. That's, you have to work hard. You won't get anywhere if you don't work hard. You don't get anything out of life unless you kind of give it your all. So all these old stories of pushing myself and, striving. I had to do really well at school, and my parents wanted me to go to university. And so all of these traits are sort of hardwired into me. But what I've found, and again, I've just come out the other side of it again, is that when I move into this driven, masculine, one-pointed, that vision, I just lose myself. I just completely lose myself. I end up being a complete bitch around my son. I disengage from him. I'm not present. Our relationship gets very clunky. I'm I I build up these walls, so no one can come in, and that's something I'm learning anyway to release. But when I'm in that kind of hard-edged bitch mode, it's there's no way you can get in. I shut everybody out. I've become very isolated, and I've just kind of, I would say it's almost like a little breakdown that I've had recently, and I've just gone, I've got to learn from this, because this is the second time this has happened, and it's huge, and it doesn't happen quietly. Like, my life gets really turned upside down, and I know that there are other women out there that are kind of doing and going through the same thing, and also along the way of this kind of hard work, this driven kind of striving behavior, where along the way you get the car, you get the beautiful wardrobe, you have the, outside you look really, you've got it going on. You're working hard to get that kind of toned, lean body that's kind of everywhere. You've got the designer shoes, you've got the holidays abroad, you're spending money left, right and centre to keep this lifestyle up. And that's kind of where I've been as well. And really none of that makes you, it doesn't, it's good on like a level, but when you kind of really look at it, you realise you're still not happy. You're missing something inside. It's just like there's an emptiness. And so for me, my journey is kind of coming back into who I am, and more I would say, I would say I'm on a spiritual journey, but it doesn't resonate with me as much. But it's just so you can understand, I'm more on a soul's journey. I'm more kind of letting myself be led by my soul, and my soul is leading me into the divine feminine, into a more kind of simplistic life, because that's the thing, even with myself, and I'm always very honest, is I get swayed by the glamour, the luxurious. I mean, I'm a Taurian, I'm like a kind of really grounded Taurians, and I love luxury, I love pleasure, but I think I get swayed by it, and I'm like, oh my god, I want all that stuff, but that stuff, I just don't think it's good for me. And even as I'm saying this, I'm like, I have this battle in my head, but I just kind of know that the simpler my life is, and it's not like I'm going to walk around with no sort of raggedy clothes on my back. I'm still going to have a house, I'm still going to look after myself, but it's just like keeping my life quite pure and simple. And I suppose that goes with everything, like my thoughts, my eating, the way I move my body, and I teach and guide women to be able to do the same, so they can release and let go of the stuff that they don't need, but also it's giving them the space and the support so that they can explore. So I give them the container so that they can explore themselves, and kind of they've got that freedom to find out who they really are and what really makes them happy.
Well, you hit everything I wanted to know, and I just think I can't wait to see what you do next, because I'm feeling like all of the different points you touched on and all of the different destinations on your journey up until this point have led you to today and to this thinking. And I know you're going to be taking some time over the next few months to bring this whole thing together. So I want to extend a live offer on this show to, when you get ready to launch this program, that you'll come back on with me.
Yeah.
And you will tell everybody about it so that I can brag about it too, and that I can help get this out into the world, because I think it's so essential. I think it's so authentic. I love you and the work you do. I know you as a person and as a professional, so I want everyone to know you like that, and I want to be able to share that with our people, because I have a lot of women in my audience. I know a lot of them are wrestling with the same thing. A lot of single parents who have to be the dad and the mom. They have to live in the feminine and the masculine. And when you're the only breadwinner, you have to live in the masculine most of the time. And when you have children that require feminine energy and mothering, nurturing, they're not getting that. And then you're not fulfilling your responsibilities and your own needs as a mom. So I want to say congratulations, thank you. I'm excited we got the scoop on that, and I'm hoping that it nudges you a little bit more to, run through the finish line and go to completion, even though you want to do it in a gentle way. I am here to support that, and I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming on and spending a few minutes with me today. I'm so excited for our audience, and yes, I'm going to have to take a deep breath too after this. So I'm going to tell everybody where to find you. You can be found on Facebook.com/G.Star Monroe, and now I will put that link in the show notes. And I invite everybody to connect with you, because you are just so special on so many levels, but certainly mostly as a woman. So thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Yeah, thank you, Rick, for having me. And I would encourage, if anything I say pulls at you slightly, then find me on Facebook, friend me, let's be friends, let's get to know each other, because that's how I like to roll.
Great.
Definitely.
Okay, dear. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.